So, as you know, Squirm is a pretty unique twisted. There's one issue though. He is incredibly rare to find. I spent 7 hours on stream just trying to find Squirm with an extra 1 hour off stream with friends. In total, I spent 8 hours trying to get this one character along with their trinket. Purple Cub spent about 8 hours just to get the tune alone and 4 hours on obtaining the trinket. Good Goat spent about 10 hours for both trinket and tune. Vidix spent 8 hours on the tune alone, 4 hours for the trinket. Many other YouTubers had similar hours. Some more, some less. That's not all. Let's read the hours of everyday players. This one says, I hate my life. During the entire 24 hours Squirt was on the board, I did not see him once. I was looking forever and I never saw him. I might genuinely crash out. I've been playing for 3 hours with Squirm on the board and got him once. This one had it bad, man. 28 hours and 2 Squirm encounters. This is not balanced at all. 14 hours for Squirm and no spawn. I'm going insane. I've been playing Danny's World for 6 hours straight and Squirm never appeared. It took me 8 hours to get Squirm and now he's popping up like crazy. Yeah, it happens all the time, doesn't it? This user is responding to someone. Bad. It's been 10 hours. 0 Squirm. I'm genuinely starting to think that he's the friend we made along the way. Just spent 4 hours grinding for Squirm. Only got 1 encounter. At least she's happy about it. Spent 12 actual hours straight grinding Squirm alone. Then spent another 5 getting his trinket. Woke up with a horrid cough this morning. I've been playing 6 hours today and Squirm did not spawn a single time. And it goes on and on and on. Hell, it's no wonder why people don't like the rarity of this tune. It takes hours, literal hours. You're going to be playing as though it was a work shift just to get the character and trinket. Oh, but don't worry, guys. I'm actually here to make things worse. If you think these hours on just trying to find Squirm is bad, just wait until they decide to add even more rare tunes. I'm so glad my viewers are starting to quote me on this since I've been saying this for the longest time. The more rares you add, the higher the rarity becomes. Let me just show you through a demonstration. Just to get a rare tune, not accounting for Squirm, just a rare tune alone, on floors 1 through 4 gets you a 7.41% chance to spawn. Keep in mind, you only get 2 twisted on these floors. So that's only 2 dice rolls for one of them to be a 7.41% chance. If you want more rolls, then your best bet is floor 22, where if you have all your teammates alive, somehow, through a miracle, you get 8 twisted. So view that as 8 dice rolls, all for the small chance for one of them to be a rare at 6.45% chance. Now, you may or may not be wondering why on earth did the percentages get smaller? Well, as you progress through the floors, the mains become more and more common, while the percentages for the other rarities goes down in value. That's why you have some people who do the early floor strat, higher percentages but lesser rolls, or you could go through the floor 22 through 34 strat, assuming all your teammates are alive by then. 8 rolls for a 6.45 through 6.06% chance to get a rare twisted respectively. Now hold on, it actually gets even worse because those are just the rates for a rare twisted alone, not just for Squirm. So let's just say on floor 1, you so happen to get a rare. What do you think the odds are for a rare to be twisted Squirm? 70%? 50%? It's actually about 14%. The math from here on isn't going to be 100% accurate. There's some roundings that I didn't take into consideration. So the focus here is the crazy rare numbers. Anywho, there's 7 rare twisteds in the game as of right now during non-holidays. All you have to do is divide 1 by 7 and you get 0.14. In other words, 14%. So you have a 14% chance for that rare to be twisted Squirm. Remember, I said non-holidays because there's always a rare on holiday events. So let's say you're a player who hasn't played Dandy's World in a while and you just found out about Squirm during the Easter update. Well, bad news, that rarity has just increased. So instead of 1 out of 7, you got 1 out of 8. Your chances of a rare twisted beak Squirm is about 12 to 13%, give or take. I don't know if you're supposed to round the 0.1 125 to 13, but regardless, your chances during a holiday are even lower. Oh, speaking of holidays, if you got Coco's Trinket the first time you played the Easter event, you know, congratulations, because you went through a much easier hell than those who will play after. You had a 1 out of 6 chance of getting Twisted Coco from the Rarity pool, since Blind Squirm didn't exist yet. Compared to now, when Easter arrives, you're looking at a sweet 1 out of 8 chance, with that increasing even more if they add more rare Twisteds. Oh, but don't worry, Dandy's Will player. We have the faithful board to help you. The board is fraud. Here, let me explain. Currently, the way the board works is it puts a Twisted of the day, meaning there's a higher likelihood of said Twisted to spawn. How much higher? Spawn rate is doubled according to Quell. Anywho, only uncommons, rares, and mains can appear on the board. This gives you a 33% chance for one of those rarities to hit. So you have a 33% chance for a rare to be on the board. But again, it gets worse because there's 7 rares outside of the holidays. So you're looking at that sweet 14% chance for Twisted Squirm to be on the board. Again, that's outside of holidays. During the holidays, it's about 12 to 13% if you round the number. Keep in mind, this is 1 dice per day. Now, how could it get worse? It can. Let's assume you're hunting for Squirm during a non-holiday. This time, I'm going to use weights since that's what most games work with when it comes to numbers and chance. So you have 7 Twisteds. One of them is boosted by double, so the weight would be 2 instead of 1. So you're looking at 6 non-boosted rare Twisteds being at the weight of 1, while Squirm is the weight of 2. So divide 2 from 8, you get 25% chance as of right now with Twisted Squirm being on the board, if you so happen to roll a rare Rarity. However, there's still a much higher likelihood that you'll not get Twisted Squirm despite being boosted. Remember, there's 6 other rares. Each one is about 12.5% chance to spawn individually. In total, it would be about 75%. Despite the rates doubling, you still have more of a chance to get other rare Twisteds than Squirm. Remember when that user said they spent hours trying to get Squirm despite being on the board and never seeing him once? Yeah, those are the percentages. Now, I hate math and I hate this portion of the video, so no more. Just know that was for non-holidays. On a holiday, the chances get worse, and if they add even more rares, the chances will worsen even more. So now that you know why it's almost impossible for some of you to get Squirm, when you see people saying they've spent what seems to be exaggerated hours just looking for Squirm, don't dismiss them. They're very much likely telling the truth. Now, I'm going to be a little more cynical here. I think Dandy's Will knows this issue, but for them, it's not an issue. It's more of a solution to answer for playtime. After all, higher playtime, aka grinding for hours and hours on end, means more money. I don't like that they're using this rarity system as a crutch to cover for their bad game design. Can we please make the game fun again? Instead of being this I-core grind shiny hunting simulator. And by the way, if you think they don't know about this problem, they've known since the GG era. Hell, it became a real problem during Blot's release. And even further, when Cole's quest was almost impossible to complete due to the fact that she's a rare. It's very obvious they want playtime. Why do you think they haven't introduced a pity system other than for the event mains? I have friends who I play on the regular, and they are not fond of this game anymore. While I was playing Dollies yesterday with said group of friends, they straight up told me they don't see themselves ever wanting to go back to Dandy's World because of how bland the gameplay loop is. It's one thing for something to be rare, but have fun in the process of finding said rarity, than it is to look for said rarity and be bored out of your mind. I've mentioned this before on the stream, by the way, and while I was playing with them, even though I told them the update was good this time around, they had a miserable time and they wanted to stop playing. Hell, one of them felt bad for me grinding away and decided to stick with me up to floor, I think, 22, you know, despite them wanting to stop at around 15. Yeah, man, this system is not looking good, but anyways, that's enough cynicism. Can't always be a downer, and despite seeing the problem, I do want to provide a solution or solutions. First, I'm going to recommend an idea if I was the developer, because realistically, you need to understand that Blush Crunch wants to keep this horrible system. This idea will just be for me. First of all, I would get rid of the board. It would be discarded entirely. In exchange, I would introduce a host lobby system where you can actively select the twisted you want to hunt for. So if you want to go at it alone, or with friends, or with strangers globally, that can happen. I took inspiration from old Dandy's World players when they would specify which mains they were hunting for, like Shelly Hunt or Astro Hunt, you know, despite their efforts being led up to chance. But speaking of which, I would extend pity, not just for the event mains, but to any twisted that's selected for the hunt. This pity would hit every 20 floors. I know that people will just end up resetting since it's easier to go from 1 through 20 as opposed to 20 to 40, but nevertheless, I want to add that as an option for those that want to extend to the further floors. Completely optional. Okay. Now for the second solution. This is something that more so meets them. I'm speaking about Blush Crunch, by the way. At the middle of the road. Change the twisted board to not just host one twisted at a time, but one for each rarity. So instead of having this 33% chance for a rarity to be selected, now it's 100%. One for each rarity, common, uncommon, rare, and main characters. I'm including common because eventually that too may become oversaturated, so it's best to nip this in the bud while you can, right? Then after that, there's still the problem of a twisted of your wants to not end up on the board since there's a 1 in 7 chance during non-holidays. But even if it did, there's no pity system for the rares, commons, uncommons, and regular cast of mains. I would recommend a pity every 5 floors. So floor 5 will pity the common, floor 10 will pity the uncommon, floor 15 will pity the rare, and finally floor 20 will pity the main character. This is the best solution I could provide. If you guys have your own ideas, then do recommend. Regardless, whether or not you agree with these solutions is completely irrelevant. What's relevant is that we can all see that the rarity system is a game design flaw that will only worsen the more tunes are added in said pools. So thanks for watching, and with that, I'm going to be calling it here. Goodbye. Goodbye.